About 3 years ago, I had a dream that was, I think it was said here, what happened in this dream was I was alone here where I am now, in the middle of the night, and there was no train going by. The lights were all lit really bright, the stadium lights, and I think I was pretty much almost spotlit, and it was raining really hard. From the distance, 2 angels approached and they came closer, and I realized that they were Rastafarian angels. They came from over those hills, and they pretty much landed right here between the 2 lights, so they were lit as well. And this used to be all grass. The angels landed right in front of me, and I looked them right in the eyes, and it was Milli Vanilli, the 80s pop duo. The first thing they said was, "Florian, we have a confession to make. We did not sing our songs on all the albums." I already knew that, and I thought that was pretty cool. And the next thing they said, or they had a message for me. They said, "For your next film," which was Woodenhead, "we would like you to pre-record the entire soundtrack. Pre-record all the voices, all the music, and all the location sounds." I think the last thing they said to me was, "Baby, don't forget my number." And then they just disappeared, flew over there again. That dream began Woodenhead. Yeah.
Sweet child mine, how soundly you sleep. Sweet child mine, rest your head. Oh, what dreamy eyes you have. Oh, what comely ears you have. Oh, what a handsome head you hold. Head, what a handsome head you hold.
What a difficult place. What a difficult place. What a difficult place.
There was music written for it by a very talented musician who was part of the team. What was his name?
Marc.
Marc. I loved his work. I go to all his concerts.
All the music was made before the film. While the script was being written, Marc was already writing songs. I bought a whole lot of old records with children's fairy tales and some German ones too, and I gave those to Marc to listen to, and he sampled bits of them as well. The idea was, we won't actually shoot a single thing till we think the soundtrack works as a story.
I'll sure test it out and see how we go.
Yep.
Ready?
Yep. Oh, hold on, I'm just going to ring up my parents. Hallo Mama? Oh, hallo. Wir tun gerade Sound Recording. Ja. Alle winken.
Yeah, we sampled the trumpet, the accordion, sampled all my drums, xylophones, started creating loops and melodies, and working these loops and melodies in with the lyrics that Florian had written for each character's song. Produced the demo tracks for Gert and for Plum and for the duet and for Hugo and the dump. And then
They're on the DVD actually.
they're on the DVD, yes they are. With the original.
With Marc Chesterman singing.
Yeah, he's singing through an old microphone. Yeah, and then we gave those demos to Ed Hanfling, who created all his own cello parts, which we're eternally thankful for.
Void of worry,
somebody else's film, I would have
Got it really good.
I would have got really good.
Yeah,
But
that's
being
good.
this film, I can't give a stuff.
It was fantastic doing Marc's songs. I think they're great songs and great music, and it was really nice to sing someone else's songs that is when they're so good, you know. And I love the lyrics. The lyrics are so kind of simple and clever and brilliant and funny.
It's a sound and image separate. That was new idea. It's very weird to me. Weird. I never know what is in Florian's mind. I say, why are you doing the sound first? I thought Steve was an actor in Woodenhead, but his image wasn't there.
We went into the studio, and it was like doing a radio play, is what it felt like to me, which I've never done before, but it's like I imagine it. You know, you're suddenly in the situation where you're acting to a microphone and characterising these voices. And a lot of that audio got cut, I think, which was right, because once the visual was added, you know, a lot of it didn't need to be there.
All right, I'm rolling.
Hey, hello. I heard you singing. Allow me. May I introduce myself to you, yes? I am Mr. Luzik Rabinovich. I am the ringmaster of the traveling Quay Brothers circus.
Oh, I spoiled everything. I was supposed to deliver Plum, my boss's daughter, to her wedding. And
Plum? Wedding?
Plum is the most beautiful friend a person could ever have in the world.
Ah, now I see.
Ah, more understanding. Ah.
Ah. Now I see you are no longer to see this plum pudding. This plum wedding. You no longer allowed to see this plum lady, this lady. You are no longer allowed to see this lady, yes?
The decision to pre-sync the movie, was that necessity or an actual aesthetic choice?
It was both. There were lots of reasons why it was good. It was good on the main reason was on an aesthetic level, to give the film more of a dreamy feel, and then also so I could use close friends of mine for the leads, like Nicholas and Teresa, and be able to have the best of both worlds, you know, using voice-trained actors for the voices and get the best voices, and then having casting for the most incredible faces.
No, the pre-recorded sound was wonderful because I don't know, it kind of felt like singing along to a song you like.
You have the luckiest days.
And if you fuck it up, it doesn't matter because it's still right on the song, you know, or you can do your own little melody off to the side or do a little bit of backing vocal or something like that. That's what it felt like for me as an actor.
And so you'd had the whole thing plotted and scripted and acted out.
Yeah.
So everybody knew exactly what was happening and what they were supposed to be saying.
Well, no.
No?
Like, sometimes we'd do totally different things, like we'd play the sex scene and the conversation while they're having sex, while Nick would be sitting on the donkey and going down the landscape. Or sometimes we might be playing Guns N' Roses on the stereo and getting the characters to do something.
So it was like a return to the silent days where they'd have little chamber orchestras playing to get people in the mood.
Yeah, definitely. Like in the dancing we played some great Nino Rota music from Fellini's films, and that just, you know, everyone was in the mood. The cameraman was dancing.
You're quite simple, aren't you, good? No, I don't mean that in a bad way.
How do you mean?
Do it one more time and more of a smirk. Kind of
The world
sexy
is
smirk.
difficult. You're quite simple, aren't you, good?
I met Florian in 1997 when I first started my fine arts degree, and he was just finishing his, and he asked me to be in a short film at that time, which was called Liebesdrama in the end, which means love dreams, and he at that time was courting me, and one of his little courting devices was to ask girls to be involved in his movies, which was quite funny. But anyway, that kind of led on to me being involved. Well, I was kind of always involved because Florian was writing a script and he had actually already based the main characters on Nick and I. Nick's his best friend. So he had us in mind, our physicality anyway, for those characters from the very beginning. And he did have auditions over the time of sorting out the rest of the casting for our characters as well, but he didn't find anyone who suited the roles as much as he thought we did.
Yeah. Really good, Nick.
My arm's getting sore.
He felt comfortable with us and thought that he could get the most out of our real personalities rather than our acting abilities, which hadn't really existed before then.
I just know from this, right, even though, Teresa, you're not, doing it proper, it's going to work, eh?
Yeah. And I can act better than this.
I know you can.
I'm just feeling self-conscious now.
Yeah, sorry, don't worry about it. Sorry. You're auditioning your sad scene anyway, I'm recording this. Teresa. Because you do have to cry in the film.
Are you recording it for
me? Yeah.
That's not rude.
This is the best audition ever. Now we're getting a bit of happy emotions.
Okay, shall we do the lines?
Yeah.
Florian and I are both quite immediate in the way that we create art, quite intuitive about it, and we don't, like, for example, when I made the art department for Woodenhead, I didn't spend a long time analysing why I was doing anything. I just did what felt natural for me and for Florian's film. But if I was going to analyse it and analyse Florian's creative style as well, I would say that we both connect on quite a level of blending quite a stylised and contrived reality with quite a raw and kind of real one. Like, even though we were interested in this old-fashioned reality and old-fashioned styles for clothes or props and these kind of things, we didn't deny the fact that we were filming in like a real-life location, like Opua Dump. Like, sure, we tried to keep it a bit timeless, but there was whatever Jap imports piled up there.
I guess the main sort of brief for Woodenhead was that it was to be quite timeless. Like, we didn't want the costumes to look like they were set in any particular time, and because it's a fairy tale story, it's all very, very eclectic. Like, there's 40s dresses paired with 60s shoes paired with quite an 80s aesthetic. It's a really, really sort of it's a pastiche, I guess, of all sorts of things. Plum's outfits, I put a lot of sort of detail into those, especially initially with the colour when the film was going to be shot in colour.
Why black and white? I don't understand that. I like colour.
You got the money. You knew you had to shoot it on DV. At what point did you decide to do it in black and white?
Well, Chris, our DOP, he always wanted to make it black and white.
When I heard the soundtrack, I just imagined it being in black and white. And interestingly enough, Florian had conceived it in colour.
And we had major big talks about it.
At that stage, Teresa, who was art directing, and Georgie was doing costume, had already gone a long way into their pre-production.
So right in the end, it was no, let's do it in colour, and in the worst case scenario, we can always make it black and white.
I still wasn't convinced, so I offered to Florian, I think, a 50% discount on my fee if we could shoot it in black and white, and not in colour.
Was anybody paid for their acting?
Well, we had a Creative New Zealand grant to make the film of 30 grand New Zealand dollars, and pretty much all the cast and actors, the main cast and crew who were there for the whole shoot, were paid, I can't remember, like $1,000 or $1.5 grand, and that was basically just to cover their rent while they were away.
So how long was the shoot?
4.5 weeks. Right. Yeah, and so we paid people, but they were more like cool hard wages. Yeah.
Okay, how much money is here? Have a guess. Go on. I'll give you one of these if you guess. That extra pay, Chris, because I heard you're not getting so well paid.
It's not the greatest.
Yeah. Have a guess. Come on. They're in 50s. I'll give you a clue.
Yes, I'd say 400. No, more than that.
Yeah.
800.
Perfect.
Really?
Here you go. Put that in your pocket. You can take it down, buy yourself a coffee. Yeah, but watch it because the director's hard-assed.
So you've got to have a certain amount of personal charm to make a movie of this nature then.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
I think Florian is very versed in the art of being a con artist in the best possible way. We kind of like once decided that con artist might actually stand for conceptual artist, which actually gives it a bit more credibility. Yeah, Florian's very good at making other people also believe in his visions.
You have failed me once again, Girdle. Yes, simple Gert. He will pay for this. Take this dagger, cut out his heart, and bring it back.
Warwick Broadhead's only a very small celebrity, really, isn't he?
Yeah, no one's actually heard of Warwick Broadhead.
What I'd like to say is that it was fantastic and the team was incredible. There was someone there with a really hairy chest, which was fantastic. There was a woman who came and put my makeup on, and she was obviously putting out the scent because men were panting all around her. It was incredible as well. Wonderful team. Without the team, nothing. Fabulous. Florian, you know, the director, amazing. The thing is that Florian's so tall, isn't he? I think that really helps. Because, you know, you get the thoughts come from God. So he's just that much taller to latch onto them. And down they come, floating into that airhead of his, you know, and he brings them out. He's a total inspiration. The way he worked with people, he'd say, right, we can have a break now, that kind of thing. I loved that. Wonderful. You know, he really encouraging. You know, he'd come, he'd say, love your shoes, that kind of thing today. Not my costume shoes, my ordinary shoes. Like he was always, you know, encouraging. That's what I felt about Florian. And, you know, if he couldn't get what he wanted, he'd just undo another button on his shirt.
Okay. As simple as that.
Simple as that.
All right,
yeah,
darling.
simple as that.
Thanks.
Like that? Yeah. He'll never get what he wants from me. Because he'll give me an idea and I'll go somewhere else.
My favourite part of the film is when I'm in it. Yes, I have to be honest. You want honesty, don't you? Please, don't get me wrong. But when I'm in it, I think it's fantastic. After that, the donkey.
suppose I'm a bit like my dad. Like I like going in for a dip, but I'm not really much of a swimmer. So I was sort of precariously kind of looking at this big, dark, sort of deep pool. So we're shooting these sort of precursor scenes before we did the drowning scene, and I was sort of looking at it all day, and I was kind of dreading it.
I thought Nick was acting drowning, and he was like swallowing water and everything, and it looked incredible. But Prue and Teresa thought he was really drowning, and they were like calling out, you know, stop, stop. But I was like, oh no, this is great, this is great.
I remember seeing the water spurting out his nose, so I wasn't being paranoid.
And Nick was all right, but were you actually?
No, because the shoes will weigh me down. Yeah, and I just couldn't. I felt myself sinking. It was really horrible, and the water was freezing as.
I'm really sorry about that, Nick, because I fully thought you were acting. Because I mean, yeah.
And then you made me do it again. You know?
Yeah.
It was definitely a life-threatening moment for him, but he took it all in his stride, as he did all the other crazy challenges we put him up to during the shooting of Woodenhead. And the mangroves had him covered in mud, pretending to be a frog, blindfolded, cowbell around his neck. I remember Florian shouting, "Leap like a frog! Leap like a frog!"
Keep going. Like a frog, leaping like a frog. Leapfrog, leap.
What a soldier, I say. One of the last great troopers.
And sort of violent spasms every once in a while, Nick. That's good, yeah, that's great. Keep that up, that's good, that's the one, Nick. That's amazing, do that a bit more. Like full-on spazzing.
And action.
You may kiss me goodnight on the cheek.
Slowly go up. Beautiful. Oh, look at Teresa. Look at her breasts, Nick. Great, look at her.
I want to tell you a bedtime story. Sit down.
Great, Nick, beautiful.
Now listen carefully.
And get smoky, Teresa, and drunk.
Once upon a time, there was an old lady who lived with her dog. And she loved the smuggle
Really
more
listen.
than anything or
Draw in a little bit
anyone
closer,
else
Nick.
in the world.
Get him a little bit closer with your head, just a little bit. Great. Now really listen, Nick,
Every
concentrate.
night,
Teresa's
the
still
old
drunk.
lady would drink a sweet tea before she went to bed. The mongrel loved the taste of the sweet tea.
Act the story out, Teresa. Drink the tea, just without the glass.
On the lips.
Now show us the kiss on the lips.
Every night.
Now imitate the popping the
One
pills.
day, the woman received terrible news, and when night came, she couldn't sleep. So she made some of the sweet tea and used it to swallow some very strong sleeping pills.
Beautiful.
Then she went to bed and fell asleep.
Nick looked confused. Look at Teresa's face.
She woke up in the morning, and her mouth was
Get closer to
covered in
Nick.
blood.
Nick, ugh.
The mongrel
Not laughing, serious. Nick, you're annoyed.
had chewed off her
And Teresa really drunk, great. And Nick really. Now look down at your pants again, Nick. Serious. Look down at your pants. Now slowly get up and leave. Look at Teresa before we go. And leave, great. Nick, slowly.
You're quite simple, aren't you, Gert?
Oh. Sorry.
Frankie had trained this goat to lick Nick's feet, and it was supposed to be ticklish, and it was an old-fashioned form of torture that Florian had decided to use as part of the film. And the goat just wasn't really interested in licking Nick's feet that day.
So Teresa took over and I didn't realise, and we didn't actually realise, and she was licking my feet.
It was just one of those moments where I get a little bit too involved in what's going on, and I kind of get into this real like go all the way kind of mentality, and yeah, that was kind of quite an intimate moment for me with Nick. Yeah, more intimate than I could have ever imagined, more intimate than the sex scene. I was like, oh my god, that's a strange thing to have done. Yeah.
You are on about the dump. Have you done therapy? I think it could help you, really. A bit of therapy would help you. Dump, all right? But we can talk dump if it's going to help.
The dump was an amazing location, actually. When we first arrived, I couldn't quite believe my eyes. It was the stacks of dumped cars that really did it for me, about 2 stories high, and giving a nice backdrop to the piles of other detritus that could be seen there. And many a fun day was had outside the caravan, talking to Mr. Broadhead a lot about topics ranging from Buddhism to boys, pretty much. Applying pussy scars to his face. It was all fun.
Okay, so there's cars everywhere, it's smelly, there's a caravan in it, it stinks, there's refugees everywhere from Ethiopia, half dead, incredible. You know, we just had to step over them.
Yep.
You sure you've had enough to eat?
Yep. That should be right. Yeah, I'll be right for a while. Filming at the dump, I suppose it's influenced my life a bit, because now I'm sort of picking up rubbish and that, and kind of being more aware of rubbish around. Like I remember when I first got back, and I'll be looking at the rubbish all down the street, and when I'll be going for a run, I'll be collecting up plastic bottles and just to put them in the recycling bin. But I always have been quite environmentally minded, just being aware of sort of the environment and the impact that humans have.
Often the female character is sort of like dressed up to seduce the men, and it's kind of like looking at that as a flower with the dancers, because they were circus dancers, and that's pretty difficult to do on the beach in the sand with no aerial trapeze or anything kind of like that. So the closest thing that I could get to that was the image of synchronized swimming. So the idea was that you have this open flower and then you get drawn in, and the shots became closer and closer towards the genitals and towards the whole purpose of the seduction.
Doing Hospice for Destitute Lovers was really cool to record it like that. Actually, we basically recorded it in a day from memory. Like the night before, I played a sort of demo version of it for Mardi to take home to learn it. It was never intended that it be a duet, that song, when it was written, but Mardi came up with a really lovely harmony. It's got Mike Berry to come and play drums, and Gareth to play some accordion and piano, and Jeff and his inimitable brilliance took out the acoustic guitar altogether.
This is not an ode to monks or drunkards, beggars or buggers. Wolfman, martyr, Jesus.
Can you sing a line, Chris?
Is to love. Is to love.
Yeah, I must admit, when I first started, I thought, oh, this looks gorgeous, and then when I realised that they'd all been very ludicrously post-sunk, I started to think, oh, God, here we are, bloody student art film territory again. But it was only mere minutes before I was won over. There was humour there, and the humour for me was totally the saving grace that led me into enjoying the movie. If it had been dead straight and dead arty and dead serious, I probably would have shat all over it. It's really Kiwi in the fact that it's got the whole, number 8 wire attitude that's driven it, and the landscape is very Kiwi. I think the characterisations and the fairy tale aspect of it are often quite Northern European for me. I mean, it's got that whole Grimm's fairy tale sort of feel about it, and it's got a darkness to it that I think is the mixture of a New Zealand darkness and a European darkness. So yeah, I think it's a real interesting, clammy, sexual coming together of the European penis and the Aotearoan vulva, and they just fit beautifully. No protection at all, no.
The sex scene was quite, it was actually quite funny because both of us Teresa and I weren't feeling sexy at all. We're both quite fluey. I was very feverish and I was popping paddles and I was feeling really sort of spaced out.
I had this disgusting cough, and kind of the minute Nick kind of positioned himself on top of me, I just had to cough really badly, and I just hoiked out this big spit from where I was lying down there, and it landed all over Nick, which was not intentional, but it was really disgusting. And it was, I don't know, it definitely lightened the mood for me, but I don't think Nick was very appreciative. Yeah.
So how was it having your partner naked under this man here?
I actually didn't find it too strange, and it was the first time I'd done sex scenes as well, so that was a great new challenge. And we'd heard how they do soft porns, like we used gaffer tape and things like that to cover people up, and I did Teresa and Nick's gaffer.
How was it taking it off, Nick?
It was quite painful actually. I remember I had to I thought I'd taken it all off because I had like a cardboard and then gaffer, and then it was about 2 a.m. when I sort of woke up in the middle of the night, and shit, what's that down there, and so I had to pull it off really quickly. It was awful. It's really horrible. Yeah.
Oh man.
There's always the possibility a dick will come off with it.
Yeah, I was a bit worried about that.
The whole nature of the shoot, I mean, my involvement in it anyway it just felt like a little gypsy crew, and it just seemed really appropriate for the sort of film that it was.
When you are on this kind of film set, well, it was very guerrilla styles and everyone was doing everything. You just went into that real survival mode. It kind of reminded me when I was at Topek on, Topek is in Taranaki, it's like outdoor pursuits camp, and they take you up into the mountain and basically get you lost and you have to find your way home. It was a bit like that, you kicked into real survival mode and there was no time for crap like emotions and all that sort of stuff, which I usually love to indulge in. So when I was asked to be emotional acting after 5 seconds before having done a really serious art direction job or just being really organised and kind of official or whatever, it was really, really hard to get involved with my character.
Look, okay, are you warm enough, Marc? Get him the blanket, maybe?
Yeah, that's good. I need to go.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, look at Nick, action.
One of my favourite scenes was the grandma scene, and it's quite funny because we shot it in a rest home. We sort of hired out the room for a few hours, and they didn't have any idea what we're doing. And Teresa was sort of like a dog, and she just had a dog collar on. I got a bit scared because she had to lick my face and that, and later on, in a later take, she had to sort of bite me to a bit, and it was quite scary, really. Yeah, I found I did enjoy cross-dressing a bit. It's a bit of a laugh, Yeah. I mean, I'm not, you know, not like a sexual thing, really. A little bit, I suppose, but yeah, it's a bit of a laugh, and had fun flirting with the camera guy, and yeah, with Chris and the camera, and making him uncomfortable was funny, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was in cell 28, and you know, we'd wake up in the morning, do our ablutions, down for breakfast, clang, back into the cell again. About 10 o'clock, we'd be taken out for a little run, and nice. Florian's mother, it's nice.
Christine was the caterer and also the director's mother.
It was quite neat. Each of us sort of back there after a hard day's work and sitting around the table, and then Christine would be coming in with some amazing food. She would make us lovely sandwiches every day. Amazing sandwiches full of salad and all sorts. And then later on we had David who came up north, and he played the tramp, and he was really into food too.
The film crew and cast were very well sustained with her nourishing Austrian cuisine every night, although we never got strudel.
I'm still annoyed. I asked for it twice, but apparently they didn't have the apples. What's that? They're in fucking pie here. Fruit bowl of the north. No apples.
Since I enjoyed it so much, and I have a feeling the crew was happy with me too, I've put already a written application in for the next movie to be part of it and do the catering again.
You realise that the next movie may have a big budget and a big crew.
Oh.
You might be catering for 50 to 100 people.
Oh, I have then a few Austrian girls working beside me and be a director like Florian.
Thoroughly discovered my acting talent, and I really thank him for giving me a chance to do that. Thank you for it.
To start with, I mean, I couldn't believe it that he cast me as a strongman in the first place. I was thinking, what? Like, are you sure?
Incredible.
Good morning. Bones are sore. Good thing I've got this fire. Keep me company. Hey, looky! Have a donkey for sale. Tied up, strong, faithful, devoted, tied up, loyal, dirty. Take you where we're going.
Wow. Rock.
Tony Bishop has got to be one of the most incredibly innovative people I've ever seen. You know, he's got a real fire that burns, that forces him on into things, and it works in his mind and it works in his body. I think that's his genius, is that his outpourings don't have to happen. I mean, mine are all verbal, you know, I find. But his is that's integration of both, which is a really stunning thing to see. When it's in action, when he was doing it, it was beautiful.
No, Talker, you want to come back? Come on. Yeah, come on. I met Florian originally while we were setting up for travel guiding on a travel agency that was looking for guides that were fluent in German, and we were supposed to pick up people from ships or the airports, and during that period we met, had a few talks, and a long time later Florian rang me and said he finally managed to get on his movie Woodenhead, which he was doing, and asked me if I was interested in doing some voiceovers as the radio voice and Gertle's voice, who was always looking for plum in that movie. This is Lutz from Radio Woodland, and here are today's horoscopes. I got into acting sort of on my own behalf. My parents weren't really happy with me just studying acting and said, you know, you need something you can provide for the rest of your life with. So originally I got into studying dental techniques. And after moving away from Hanover, which was my home city there, and the thoughts to the roots of the family, back into the mountains, into the Alps, I had a chance to study acting in Munich. And during the period of doing that, my agent from Wangen rang me and asked me if I'd be interested to be part in an alternative project movie. Not very much money, lots of trickery in it, and which I did. It was Das Boot, and left Germany a while later. Actually only to go on a world trip for about 2 years and travel the world, and that time ultimately got stuck in New Zealand. But I couldn't really think living somewhere else again. I've actually got an idea. I had a little song that I prepared. I play one verse of it. Let's see if you like it. It's a little boogie. Anyway.
He's asked me to speak about how to make a film. So I've got some notes here, and I'd like to do that. And so I'll put on my how to make a film. This is the complete outfit. Would like to welcome Helen Clark, Peter Jackson. Peter, thank you for coming. Yeah. So it's lovely to have you all here. Now, to make a film, what you need to do is get an idea, then you manufacture it, you congest and combust it all, then you let it pass out various orifices. Yes, can you imagine that? That's about it. But I'd just like to just a short speech. So, bon voyage, enjoy or hate it, or whatever, but, throw things at the screen, or come and give me congratulations. I don't want to hear if you didn't like it. Yeah. So there it is.
This country has never looked so sensual. Its people so damp with lust.
Sometimes I feel like I just fell from Neptune or something.
Good, keep it up, it's great, keep it up. Keep whispering, keep whispering, keep whispering.
Join a hospice for destitute lovers. And I would like to give up this gloss before it runs over and wets my arse. Destitute. And this is not an ode to monks.
This will squeeze the beans out here.
Beggars are buggers. Wolfman martyred or Jesus is to love us. It is to love us.
Yeah. Great, that's enough.
Look at all the dust that you. If there was such a thing, I would like to join a hospice for destitute lovers. And can I deny any longer? And can I consider other than that I am destitute? And this is not an ode to monks or drunkards, beggars or buggers, wolfman, martyred or Jesus. Is to love us, is to love us, is to love us.
Okay,
Dust
that was good.
A bit more left, more right, more right, more right, more right, more right, more right, more left.